Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Stoppage Time, Friday, May 10th edition. And before I jump into our three big topics, university innovation, some streaming media wins, and then some friendly shoutouts, I thought it would be good to kind of rewind a bit and remind everybody. So when I say stoppage time, I'm referring to that magical time, extra time at the end of a soccer match, football match, between the regulation and when the final whistle blows and the match is over. And it's a magical, mystical, crazy time when all kinds of amazing, crazy things happen. And that's how I think I feel about like that time on a Friday afternoon when you're watching this and you and I are together talking about what happened during the week and the weekend. But if I'm going to reference stoppage time and my love for soccer and football, I thought I would make sure that everybody knows who I am a fan of. So I came to international club soccer kind of late in life, actually around 2010, 2011. And as a result of a documentary that I saw about a club in England, I immediately fell in love with Liverpool Football Club. So I am a dyed-in-the-wool Reds fan. I am a you never walk alone guy, and proud to say that. I rise and fall every weekend with how Liverpool does. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, West Coast time here in LA, to watch matches sometimes when they play at that time on NBC or Peacock. So I am a huge Liverpool fan. For all my other club fans in England, sorry, too bad. But that's where it starts. Locally here in LA, I'm a huge supporter of Angel City FC, which is our NWSL women's club. I absolutely love everything that the ownership group is doing. I'm fortunate enough to know a couple of people in the ownership group, and they are just incredible people, incredible women, very visionary, and they're trying to build something in a very, very unique way, as well as I think the whole NWSL is. And so very, very much a supporter of that. In the context of MLS history here in the US, in LA specifically, to all my LAFC fans, I gotta say, although I'm proud of the club, I wish them well. I've been to a few matches over the years. The truth is I'm an OG LA Galaxy fan because there was no LAFC back in 2007, 2008, 2009, when the MLS came to LA and David Beckham kind of brought MLS to Los Angeles and the West Coast. And I became an LA Galaxy fan then, and I'm excited this year to see them doing better because I think the whole league is better overall when the Galaxy and LAFC are doing well and fighting and competing in their rivalry here in town. El Trafico, as they call it, because of our renowned traffic. So, and then on the international level, at the national team level, I'm a huge U.S. women's national team fan, and then obviously a huge U.S. men's national team fan. So, love it. Love World Cup soccer. Love all the competitions. We've got Copa America coming up this summer. We've got the World Cup coming. About eight matches are going to be played in L.A. in 2026. We've got the Olympics this summer. Kind of super in tune to the women's side in the Olympics. So that's my love for soccer. That's why this show is called Stoppage Time. So let's talk about our three big topics today. University innovation. In the world of entrepreneurship, the idea of whether or not universities should be in the business of promoting entrepreneurship or creating entrepreneurs is a hotly debated topic. It doesn't seem to have a lot of middle ground. People seem to either be, no way, that's ridiculous. How can academics teach entrepreneurship? The only way you can learn entrepreneurship is to be in the field and making all the mistakes and learning it yourself. To the other side, which is that both here in the US and outside the US, it's become very popular, very commonplace for institutions in kind of a top-down way to promote the concepts behind entrepreneurship. Personally, I have a very strong opinion on this. We spent 8 years running my prior consulting company, Growth Hacks, and I was barnstorming across Latin America, working with universities and local and state level government municipalities to promote entrepreneurship, to help teach them about how to develop entrepreneurs, but also help teach them about how to develop entrepreneurial ecosystems or economies. And I can tell you that it did immense good. And I can tell you that it changes lives at the individual level. And then the lives of those young people that come through those programs become the catalyst for change in those communities, those cities, those states, those countries. So I think there's a huge role for these types of institutions, but don't trust me. We talked about this recently in an episode of Entrepreneurial Thinkers with Isabelle Bart, who's literally an expert in this topic. She's worked for about a decade over the course of 2 different university campuses inside of the University of California system. Everybody knows how world-renowned and excellent the University of California universities are, and the fact that they are leveraging their expertise and their networks and their experiences and programs to promote entrepreneurial concepts, as I might say, really maybe to promote entrepreneurial thinking, right? Isabelle and I unpacked all of that. She has very expert opinions. We dive in deep. You should enjoy the episode. The current version of the episode on audio dropped this week, Thursday, so yesterday. And her YouTube version of the episode of the show will drop this coming Monday. So please check it out, share it, like it, subscribe it, share your feelings, answer some questions that we put, the polls that we put there, or just DM us and let us know how you're feeling. Send us an email at the show. Let us know how you're feeling about this topic, because we'd love to get more input and insight and kind of stoke the debate a bit. So second topic, media. Again, this has been on my mind because this is the business that I'm in now, right? So I'm paying more attention to it. But in addition to that, it's on my mind oftentimes because my daughter is in this industry. And so she and I talk about it. She and I were fortunate enough, we went to an amazing comedy show just this past weekend. We saw Ali Wong, the world-renowned comedian, do a show as part of the Netflix as a Joke festival of comedy that is happening all across Los Angeles with all the world's best comedians. And that means my daughter and I hung out that night, and that means we talked about the television industry that she works in as an aspiring writer, my curiosities about it, and then my own work now in it as a podcaster, as a prospective author, as a prospective television producer and creator. Like, there's a lot about media in my mind constantly. And so recently I had the good fortune, you probably have already heard it. If you haven't, go back and listen to it, our episode with Pablo Jimenez. Pablo is the chief deputy editor of El País, which is the world's largest Spanish language newspaper out of Madrid. Pablo's a longtime friend. And at the time in that episode, again, it's available on YouTube and our podcast platforms, you can hear us talk about, was traditional media dead? And I think this week's news, and this is why I bring this topic up today, this week's news between Disney's big earnings win, the fact that they're finding profitability, near profitability, probably profitable by Q4 of this year in their streaming business, in their Disney Plus business, was unheard of 2 years ago. I think the numbers, if you go look at them for this week, is that they did like $8.9 billion in revenue, something like that. Don't quote me. And they had narrowed the loss down to about an $18 million loss. And they fully expect that by Q4 of this year, they will be breakthrough positive, net positive, profitable, and will be growing profits from that point forward, according to Bob Iger this week. So this idea that these companies recently, again, it's 18 to 24 months ago, were telling us and the world that, and the stock markets, that like there was no way they could figure this business out, and that the traditional media companies, the studios, the production companies had lost out to Netflix, period. That was it. It was like a one winner take all game. I thought it was nonsense then. I'm glad to see it's coming true that it was nonsense then, and it is nonsense now, because now these companies are proving that they can make money in this. Also, some other news this week, you saw big consolidation. So there's going to be a bundling partnership between Disney and Warner Brothers around HBO, or Max as they like to call it now. I still call it HBO. Some days I call it HBO Max, but around Max and Disney Plus. So there's some bundling, which is just portends what I've said for 10 years, which is that eventually all this fragmentation of streaming and all the variety of different ways that we can consume our media on our televisions or our laptops or our phones was eventually going to find its way back to basically the cable bundle type approach that I grew up with when I was a kid. And we are 100% heading that way. So it was fascinating to hear this week, again, that Disney and Warner Brothers are combining in some ways to do this creative, which again is a testament to the opportunity. It's not sign of desperation. It's creative marketing and creative business development to capture market opportunity that exists, which tells you that these are big markets. The other bit of news that came out this week was that Sony has coupled with Apollo, the massive global private equity firm, for a $26 or $28 billion bid, all cash bid, for Paramount's parent company, its studios, its television production business, and the other assets, CBS, and a number of different assets that are owned by Paramount. So again, like, you don't get into these businesses unless there's money to be made, right? And Sony is already a massive player in the television and movie industry, and the fact that it's looking to essentially double down on that and capture greater share just gives testament to the fact that there are massive opportunities. Our desire for content is not going away. And in fact, our desire for content is localizing and globalizing at the same time, right? So the final example I'll give in this topic today is I watched an incredible little brief documentary on the Bloomberg Online. It was on YouTube actually that I saw it. And it was about Netflix filming and production outside the US. And again, it wasn't to say like we're not doing anything in the US. In fact, it was just this idea that long-term view, they want to create great content, not only globally, they don't want to just have universal global hits, but that they want to have great local hits. They want to have subscribers and fans of Netflix love the content in their own countries and their own languages, their own cultures, as well as love the global hits that will come out. And right now, they are investing in the largest production that they've invested in. It's in Latin America, it's in Colombia, and it is a series built around a famous novel from Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the Mexican novelist. So it's being filmed, shot, produced in Colombia with native workers, and it's an incredible boon to the industry. But again, it's a proof positive, right, that the opportunity to create new content and the desire to consume content in all kinds of different ways is not ceding anytime soon. Frankly, that's why I'm here, because we absolutely 100% believe at Storytellers Company, our new media production business, that there is a desperate opportunity and need for more positive, human-based storytelling in our business content, in our business media space. Where it tends to be just, like wild success stories, unicorn rockets, or reporting about people, white dudes getting rich, or competitions, shark competitions, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's a million other stories to tell, literally, if not tens of millions of other stories to tell. And that's what we're betting on. And we're betting on it largely because there is an audience for it. Right? There are people that are listening to and watching this. Like, I don't care if there's only a few or if there's dozens or if there's hundreds. The fact is that there's an audience for great content and great storytelling. So finishing up today with some shout outs, some friendly shout outs. No book recommendation this week, but I want to give you some shout outs. So first things first, I want you to check out a conversation I recently had on our Entrepreneurial Thinkers podcast with a great friend, Alex Gonzalez. Alex was in town this weekend unexpectedly to me. I did not know he was coming until the last minute. It gave us a great opportunity to go hang out and hike. But here's why I'm pointing you to Alex Gonzalez. Alex was moderating a panel that he created and hosted at the Milken Investment Conference, which is like big wig investment conference here in LA this week. He ran a panel on his favorite topic and his topic of expertise, which is the Mexican political economy, where Mexican politics and Mexico's economy kind of meets each other at that intersection. He is creating a newsletter right now that he publishes regularly called the Mexican Political Economist, excuse me. We'll put the links in here so you can go subscribe to that, find out about it. If you're interested in Latin America, if you're interested in Mexico, he's the guy to follow. Again, you can go find one of our recent episodes. But he was here, he was on the stage, he had a huge audience full of sovereign wealth funds from the Middle East. So that tells you who's looking at Mexico. A bunch of sovereign wealth funds and big investment funds, private equity funds, and venture capital funds from Europe. So that tells you who's looking at maybe there's a gap now where China is seeding ground and investment opportunities in Latin America. And that's presenting an opportunity to others. And where there is opportunity, money will follow. So Alex was in town. Alex was on stage at the Milken. I'm super proud of him for being there and playing at that level, but I also want you to go follow and find him and subscribe to his newsletter. Second thing, I want to shout out my buddy, James Cummings. James is my favorite Brit LA guy. James and I are English Premier League football friends on the weekends. Our group chat is on fire constantly from Saturday morning onward. He is a Brentford Bee fan, having grown up in West London. James runs London and Partners, and their Grow London program, which is basically an economic development agency extension of the Mayor of London's office, newly re-elected Mayor Khan. And they have offices and operations and events that they do around the US. James is hyper-focused in the West. He's hosting an event here in LA where they're going to bring out some of the best and brightest new up-and-coming companies across a couple different industry sectors to LA on May 22nd. So if you're a Brit in LA and you want to find out more about it, reach out, let us know. We'll put some links in the notes. Or if you're just curious about, maybe you're an American business person, entrepreneur, and investor, and you're curious about more about London, reach out and we'll connect you with James and his team. Next shout out, my friends at the Alliance for SoCal Innovation, Andy, Steve, Eric, Jay. They are hosting the favorite event that they do every year that I've been around and involved in, which is called First Look SoCal. It's at the Skirball Center. It's on May 21st. It's the event that I like to go to just to sit and listen to 6 hours of people who are exponentially smarter than me talk about topics about science and genetics and scientific technology and advancements that literally are mostly words that I don't even understand until I enter the room, and then I learn from these people. So if you're into the hard tech / science tech, life sciences, biosciences side of the entrepreneurial economy that we live in, which we all should be coming out of COVID, we should all understand the importance of all of these things. That is an event that is a killer event. It's really well done. It's at a uniquely beautiful facility at the Skirball Center if you've never been there, up along just off the 405. So shouting out to those guys. And then my final shout out, and this is just a personal commentary, is this show, Stoppage Time, and our core show, Entrepreneurial Thinkers, wouldn't even exist, most likely, if not for the birthday girl, my girl, Ileana Jaime Felix, who's having her birthday today. I don't know if she's in Guadalajara or in Baja California Sur at home in La Paz. But my favorite beach, Mexicana, is celebrating her birthday today. And so this is a special shout out to her. We love you. These two shows and me as a podcaster and a media producer wouldn't exist if not for your crazy ass idea back in early 2020 that wouldn't it be fun if we just shared and published our WhatsApp conversations that we have. And that gave birth to what was the original version of Entrepreneurial Thinkers, which was called Mentors Today. And she was with us and co-created and drove that with me for a couple of years before we even brought on the Deanna and our excellent producer that we have right now. But I want to shout out, we love you, we miss you, we're so proud of everything that you're doing and all your work and all your projects. And we just love the joy that you bring to our lives and to everybody's lives online that you touch and that engages with you. So shout out, happy birthday, Ile. Big hugs, and we'll see y'all soon. So that's it. That's Stoppage Time for Friday, May 10th. Thank you. Godspeed. Have an awesome, safe, fun weekend. And we'll see you next week from a different location, but we'll see you next week.